Hello and welcome to another episode of Logan's Movie Reviews. And today we're talking about Devil in a Blue Dress from 1995, starring Denzel Washington. And I'm joined once again by One Silva. How you doing, man?
Hey, good afternoon, Logan. Good afternoon, movie fans. As we start off our annual Black History Month of movie reviews with a very underrated movie, one of the most underrated movies in Denzel's filmography. And I chose this movie because Walter Mosley is my favorite author, and this was the book that put him on the map as far as becoming a great mystery writer. In my opinion, the greatest African American mystery writer of all time, and one of the top 5 mystery writers of all time, on the level of a Philip Marlowe, the great Walter Mosley. And this was directed by Carl Franklin, and it starred Denzel Washington, Don Cheadle, and I could lick her ass, her toes, her booty hole, the very voluptuous Miss Flashdance. Oh my God, Jennifer Beals.
What is her actress name? I forgot to give that here.
What happened?
See.
What happened?
What's her name?
Say it again. Jennifer. Oh, in the movie, her name is Daphne Monet.
I know, but you're saying her name is
Jennifer
Flashdance
Beals.
Girl? Oh,
Jennifer Beals. Yeah. And this was the perfect role for her because in real life she's black.
She's is she mixed? Or
Her
she,
father's black, her mother's white.
Right. So when she did Flashdance, that was like 10 years before this, right?
12.
12.
This
She
came out in
doesn't age a
'95.
day.
You look at her today. I think she's around 60. Don't look a day past 40. Oh my God. She's 10 years older than me. I still lick that ass. Oh my God, she's beautiful. She should have been a bigger star than she was. But I mean, she's had a very comfortable career. This, in my opinion, is her second greatest role after Flashdance. I don't know why after Flashdance she didn't become a superstar. She could dance, she can act, and she's beautiful. I never understood that.
I heard that they used a body double in her dance scenes. Is that true?
She could dance, but the body double was in her dance scene. Maybe because the body double booty was smaller than hers. Because
right,
when you see in Flashdance, when you see her in the tights, that ass is exploded. But when that's when she's like, standing up and talking. But then when the dance montage, the girl who's her body double, the booty is much smaller.
Yeah, much tighter, much more like a dancer. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, much more like a dancer. While she looks like she always looked Latin. When a lot of times, and Logan, you'll eventually see this for yourself. A lot of times when you have a mixed child, interracial child, the child looks very Hispanic, and
right,
she looks Hispanic. Yeah, right. Yeah.
She looks like a Puerto Rican.
Yeah, she definitely looks Puerto Rican. She definitely got a J-Lo vibe to her. Yes, she does.
Right. So here we are. It's the summer of 1948. Easy Rollins being played by Denzel Washington, and he just got laid off from his job. Where when he gets laid off, he almost beats up the boss.
Yeah, well, he catches himself because he puts his hands on that boss. He's probably going to get the death penalty.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely not the
Remember,
racial relation.
this is the Jim Crow era. Even though we're in California, you don't do that. And he heals back. And Easy Rollins is a very complicated character. Walter Mosley created this character, and there's been dozens of Easy Rollins books. I've read them all. And a quick background on the character: he grew up in Houston, Texas, was born in Louisiana, his character, and served in the military for his country, killed for his country. And when he came back, he had a hard time finding work. Whenever he did get work, he'd save up his money, and he actually owns his own house in South Central Los Angeles. This is the Watts section of LA. And you'll see, as we as we introduce other characters in this movie, I'll talk about their significance in the books and the difference between the movie version and the books versions.
Yeah, we should say that
Mhm.
the time that the place where he's living, it's like a lower class neighborhood, but he likes it. He likes the people there. He takes care of the people. There's a retarded guy who goes around chopping down people's trees, and he keeps them from doing that. He's sort of like really feels at home in this neighborhood. So the fact that he's losing his house is a real big deal to him, and you see it at the end where he appreciates the fact that he's able to keep his house.
Mhm.
So that's the whole kind of goal for him. He needs money, and
And it's
so
funny, right now in the book, right now in the last book, it's the late '60s, and he still owns that same house.
good. Glad to hear it. So now he's goes to his friend Joppy, who runs a bar nearby, and that guy introduces him to Tom Sizemore's character, DeWitt Albright. And
And
Albright,
Tom Sizemore should have been an actor on the level of a Robert De Niro, an Al Pacino, a Christopher Walken. Unfortunately, his demons got in the way. Severe
right?
drug addict. The man's a tremendous talent. He was tremendous in this movie.
Is he alive?
He's still alive, but not doing well. Physically, he looks 20 years older than what he is.
Right, right. Yeah, he's always playing good at playing the heavy, playing a bad guy. He was great in Strange Days, great in a lot of different movies where he plays a bad
Anything
motherfucker. And
he's in, he shines, and
right,
and he shines in this movie, despite the fact that he's paired off with one of the all-time greats in Denzel Washington, and, and in my opinion, Denzel's not the best actor in this movie. He's outacted by Tom Sizemore and the soon-to-be legendary Don Cheadle.
oh, Don Cheadle knocks it out the park here, man. And this is a young
Sensational.
role for him, right? This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like one
This
of his
is
first
one of his
roles.
first. This is one of his first big roles. He's had a lot of roles, but they were small. This was his first big role, and he, like you said, Logan, knocked it out the park.
And
And this would begin a string of great roles for Don Cheadle because he would be in the J Lo George Clooney movie. What the hell was the name of that movie?
out of
We
sight.
we talked about Out of Sight, which we talked about it. It was just the beginning of a great run that is continued to this day.
Oh yeah, and he plays a guy with PTSD. It looked like he was in the war, or maybe just from being on the
He
streets.
was stationed. He was stationed with Easy.
Yeah. So he's got PTSD. He has every once in a while he just has a hallucination of being in a moment where he has to kill somebody, and he almost in one scene shoots Easy, thinking that because he's
Yeah.
having one of his moments. So Easy, this guy's a Easy tries to keep him on a short leash, but he's not always successful, as we'll see later. That he's
Mhm.
not able to control this guy, and this guy's dangerous. So, but he's a good guy to have around, as he ends up
And
saving his life.
and and Easy and Mouse are like brothers. You fuck with
Right.
Easy, your Mouse is going to kill you. That's his brother.
Right, but at this point in the movie, he's just working alone. He doesn't bring
Yeah,
Mouse in
because
until later.
Mouse does not live in California. Mouse lives in Texas. Whenever
Yeah,
Easy needs help, he calls Mouse, or
right,
Mouse's
right.
wife calls him and say, "Look, man, your boy needs your help." And Mouse is on that. Mouse does 100 miles an hour just to get to his boy Easy.
Now, when he's going to enter this bar, he actually he goes to this club where. Wait, actually, one second. So, Easy's friend introduces him to this Sizemore guy, DeWitt, and Albright says that he's looking to find this missing white woman, and he claims to be working for a this kind of rich guy who was running for mayor, Todd Carter, who was dating her, and she's looking for her. She's gone missing. So this guy claims that he's working for him, and he says that he had to drop out of the race because he couldn't find her. That was the story that he told her, and he offers Rollins $100 to take the job. Easy, needing the money, says okay, but he's immediately kind of suspicious of the whole thing. He hears that she's known to spend time in the juke joints along the Central
Hmm.
Avenue, and these are like illegal clubs. Why are they
These are
illegal? Just because they.
these are illegal after hour clubs. Oh, they're illegal because these clubs are operating after midnight, and that was a term back in the day. After midnight, I think back then there was a city code where you couldn't open an establishment after midnight. No liquor license. So
Okay.
that's why they were illegal juke joints. And many a time they were allowed to continue because cops were paid off to look the other way.
Yeah. Now, like Sizemore is like, look, if I go in there, I'm going to be totally noticeable because I'm white, but you
Hmm.
can go in and do some detective work for us. So he's waiting to get in, and he sees a little bit of a commotion between a white guy, Richard McGee, and the bouncer, Junior Fournay. And
Hmm.
he kind of, we don't even hear what's going on. We can't hear anything that McGee is saying, so it's really mysterious what's going on with this guy. But there's definitely something that's really upset now. What's happening also on the outside when this is going on is there are cops like almost surrounding the club because they know there's an illegal thing going on in there, but no one's letting the cops in. And it seems like the woman who's running the store is the one kind of keeping them at bay.
Well, I think it's
Meanwhile,
more Logan. I think it's more of a shakedown than them trying to shut the place down. Cops know
right,
what's going on there, and they want
they just
they
want
want to get
money.
a cut. Yeah, yeah,
Got it. So, but in the meantime, she's just like bad mouthing them, and they're kind of at a standoff. So, yeah, I guess eventually they're gonna get paid off. But
yeah.
meanwhile,
Eventually they will.
Junior is gonna rough up this guy McGee, but she's like, look, don't do it in front of the cops. Wait until
Exactly.
so that
Just like
right,
I mentioned earlier, if Easy strikes his boss, the consequences. She's telling him the same thing. And if I'm not mistaken, Logan, what's the name of the owner of the juke joint? Did you catch her name? Was that Etta May?
uh,
Was that Etta
yes,
May? That's
yes,
Mouse's wife. That's Mouse's in the book. I don't think they talked about it in the movie, but that's Mouse's wife.
okay. She seems a lot older though in this movie, so I think they
Yeah, in
made
the
her
book,
different.
she's older than Mouse also.
Oh, okay.
And real quickly, I
So,
want to mention that in the book, and I don't think Mouse ever finds out, Easy sleeps with her in one of the books, and it Bob. I mean, it just hurts him because, and the reason he sleeps with her, he always had a thing for her in the book, and uh, he didn't like the fact that Mouse was always cheating on her. Mouse was taking her for
right,
granted. Mouse never laid a hand on her, but and there was a scene where they both in one of the books, I forgot which book, they both get drunk and they make love to each other, and that bothers Easy to this day in the books. But Mouse has never found out because if Mouse found out, he kills both of them.
yeah, but he in this movie he fucks the girlfriend of another
Yeah.
guy. I mean
Yes.
that is his friend.
Yes. Yes.
So is that
Yes.
is that
Yes.
just a reference to that book? Is that just a
And
change
it
that they
might be that
made?
might be a reference because that character is still alive in the book. The character that gets killed off, that played by back then the very luscious Lisa Nicole Carson. Yeah, titties for days.
Yeah, she totally comes on in. So easy. So he sees this confrontation, and he meets with his friends Deegan Odell, who was in the Malcolm X movie, the guy who played him.
Yes,
I
which
think
is crazy, right? Both him and Denzel were in the Malcolm X movie. He was Denzel's mentor in prison.
right. And then he meets with Dupree Bouchard, who is the boyfriend of Coretta James, and she's also there. So he learns that Coretta actually is friends with Daphne, and after spending, they drink and he carries basically her boyfriend home and puts him in bed. She comes right onto him and they fuck as he's sleeping off his alcohol.
Hmm.
Um, and she charges him $10 for information after that to because uh, she doesn't want to tell him anything, but then she does tell him that that Daphne has been involved with a South Central gangster named Frank Green. So the rumor is that they're like dating. We find out later they're actually brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
So Easy is then called by Albright on the phone when he gets home, and they set up a meeting in Malibu on a pier. And while waiting, Easy gets accosted by these young white guys, and Albright comes to the rescue, but then he takes it too far by threatening to I think kill this guy if he doesn't suck Easy's dick, and he's like about to do
Mm.
it until he totally humiliates him in front of his friends. But they were bullying
Yep.
Easy like in a racist manner. Um, but
And
still,
once again, Easy shows restraint. Because if he wanted to, he could have kicked all those dudes' asses by himself. But what's that going to do? That's going to get him in more trouble than it's worth. And the consequences are much more severe. So he tried to say, look, I don't want no trouble. We were just talking, blah, blah, blah. And those college white kids are taking it real personal, like, oh, man, well, what's this N-word trying to do with our girl? The girl wasn't even feeling them.
right. So he goes into this. That's right. He was talking to these. Yeah, he was talking to some chick just casually, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why they got mad. So when Easy, he's uncomfortable with this guy, but he gives him the information and gets even more money to keep searching. So what he gives to Albright is an address. Turns out to be an old address, and the fact that she hangs out with this guy.
Fred Green. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Easy gets home, these two LAPD guys are there, and they start arresting him. And they basically tell him that Coretta Scott is dead, and you were the last person that was there, and so you're the one that's going to be charged with the murder. And he's just like, look, give me some time. Wait, oh no, no, he's released after some rough questioning, and then once when he gets out, he finds Terrell. Um, Pulls up in a car. Terrell is the other candidate running for mayor, or is the current
Yep.
mayor. I'm not sure. He's the
Mm-hmm.
current mayor, and he's going to be beaten
Um,
by this new.
the current is the current who Todd. You got Todd Carter and Terrell. I believe
Yeah,
Terrell's the mayor, right? And Todd Carter's his main competition.
yeah. I think Todd Carter is like a shoe in to win, but
Yeah.
he drops out of the race because I think they're threatening him to blackmail him about the fact that his girlfriend is half black.
But I don't think he knows yet. I think he finds out at the end of the movie. Remember that.
Right. She disappears because she buys
She
the
knows.
information.
She. There's a letter that was taken, which Richard McGee is brought up because I think he has the letter, and the letter has proof that she is a black woman.
Right. So basically, let's just break down the scheme here. This guy has information about her that she's black.
Mm-hmm.
He uses it to blackmail her. She hires McGee to get information on or to get pictures because she knows that this dude Terrell is a pedophile.
Yes.
So he gets all these pictures of this guy with the and her plan is to essentially say, I got this on you, so you can't reveal what I have.
Or I'll
You know,
reveal what you
essentially
have. Yes. Yeah.
whatever you have, and then she can go back to him. They can get married, and then
That he could mayor.
after he becomes governor, it can come out that she's black. It won't matter. So she's just trying to she's trying to fit into this white world, and she's going through all this. She paid McGee like $7,000 to get this information. I mean, that's like
Yep.
70,000. So
Today. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so this is the scheme that's going on. Clark doesn't know. Is that his name, Clark? He doesn't know. Fuck, what's this guy? Oh no,
You talking about
Carter.
Todd Carter?
Car-
Todd Carter.
yeah,
Yeah.
Carter doesn't know that he just the problem he's having is that she's gone. So he dropped out of the race because he couldn't find her. Actually, no, that's what Sizemore says, but that's not true. He dropped out of the race because why did he? That's what I want to know.
No, he was because he was distraught that his wife had disappeared.
I know, but he wasn't the one that hired. We find out that
No,
he
he
really
did.
wasn't. Right,
No, but then he hired Easy to find her.
right.
When
Hold
Easy
on.
revealed to him, right, that's when he hired her.
So this guy Terrell makes it clear that he's also very interested in finding Daphne, and he Easy just kind of leaves the car and walks home. He has a nightmare about Coretta, and then he receives a call from Daphne, and they meet at the Ambassador Hotel, and she asks for his help. She needs to go to Hollywood Hills and meet this guy who has information about Terrell for Todd Carter. Although she doesn't say what it is, she just says, "I need to get this information." So then Easy drives her to McGee's house, and the house has been completely destroyed, and everything's a mess, and the dude is dead. McGee is dead, and he looks around for Daphne, and she's gone. So of course he knows that he's got two murders now is going to get pinned on him. So he comes home, and Albright's there with his goons.
Especially since his semen is all inside of Coretta.
Yeah, but I mean, in that time they didn't have DNA back then, so I
That's
don't
true.
think they knew.
That's true.
They
Yeah.
they, they knew it was his. But they did
But
mention she was
but if they
raped.
did the fingerprints, they did the fingerprints. His fingerprints are all over her ass and titties.
Yeah, but also they did mention she was raped, and that like she put up a struggle. But I guess they just fuck really hard because I don't know, because that's her boyfriend's like she struggled. But that was like you could tell that it was tough for Easy to hear that because he was just like, man, he felt bad because he was the last one to
Yeah,
fuck
he
her.
felt guilty.
In today's DNA universe, he would be convicted because he had
He'd
DNA
be on
all
death
over that
row.
shit.
He'd be on death row right now.
So McGee's dead. He finds a clue to his murder.
Cigarette package.
Cigarette pack. Because he.
Because Joppy smokes those cigarettes.
So the next morning he returns home and he finds Albright there and his goons, and he threatens him. He's like, dude, you're gonna go down for the Coretta murder, um, so you better search for this chick because you need, basically he's like, you need money to get the fuck out. And so that's where he calls on Mouse to be his guy. And Mouse comes aboard, and that's where you see the entrance of Don Cheadle and his great performance of this character. Easy's goal is basically to find out why Daphne is so important to so many people, keep himself from getting charged with these two murders. So he meets with Todd Carter finally, and he gets money to locate Daphne. And Todd reveals that he did not hire Sizemore's character. So Sizemore's character works for Terrell, right?
Yes, because he lied and said he worked for Carter. No, he works for Terrell.
Okay, so then he gets home and he's warned by that same retarded guy who's chopping down the trees that there's some people in his house waiting for him. So he's able to get the jump on them. They go through a struggle. Green, he's fighting with this one guy, and this dude gets the upper hand and is about to cut his throat when Mouse jumps in and points the gun at him. He's like, "You want me to shoot this guy?"
That was
Green.
the first appearance of Don Cheadle in the movie, and he just comes in roaring.
Yeah, it's great. And he's like, "You want me to shoot this guy?" And he's like, "No, no, no, I want to talk to him." And he's trying to say to this guy, like, he's trying to appeal to him in terms of money. He's like, "Yo, this woman has money," but this dude just wants to kick his ass because I think he knows what's going on. He doesn't want his sister
He
to
does
be
though.
found.
That's his sister. Everybody's assuming that Frank Green is having an interracial love affair with Carter's woman. No, they're brother and sister.
He's trying to give some money and cent to this guy to calm down, but this guy's just freaking.
He's not
he just wants to
taking it.
kick
He's
his ass.
trying to protect his
Right.
sister. Period. End of story.
Right. Because his sister is publicly white, and while he's publicly black, and they're not supposed to. So he sits him down, and when he's about to question him and things are calmed down, he gives it over to Mouse, and Mouse is just like, he's calm for a second, but then he just shoots him in the shoulder, and the dude goes,
The dude runs off.
and then This is where we see the character of Mouse. Like this dude is unpredictable. Like you don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. He's like, look, man, I'm gonna help you, and he's like, all right, you do everything I say, and he's like, yeah. So then they're in it together, and they're now a team, and they're a great team. Okay, so then Easy meets up with Dupree and finds that Coretta, Dupree is the old boyfriend, the boyfriend of Coretta who's dead. He's crying about how she's dead and how that she gave up a struggle when she was being murdered and looked
Raped.
like they tortured her too, trying to probably figure out
Hmm.
where those pictures were. And that when she last saw him, she handed a Bible to him, kind of like with a knowing look. Maybe she knew at that time that they're probably going to come after her. We hear from Daphne later on that she reveals that she actually sent Joppy back to like just rough scare her not to sell the pictures to Terrell. Those were kind of the insurance policy.
To protect her identity. That was her. That was her insurance policy.
Right. So she didn't want her to sell it. If she sells it back to Terrell, then she has nothing, and she just paid $7,000 for that. But but in roughing her up, Joppy kills her. So it was a completely accidental killing. Like I thought it was like Sizemore or if it was like Terrell, but it was really just an accident. But meanwhile, she has handed over this Bible, and he realizes, oh, that must be where this letter is. He goes to Junior. Junior who drives McGee home. After remember that scene in the store, he goes to Junior and he figures out that Junior he remembers that little incident and he wants to figure out what because he remembers McGee was killed and then he knows that there was like an altercation between McGee and Junior in the store when he was going to looking for this chick. So he goes to Junior and he's like, "Yo, I know you fucking killed McGee." And he's like, "No, I didn't kill McGee. I fucking took him home and he gave me a letter to give to Coretta, who then put it in the Bible." That's where we know, like, and that's where these pictures are. So these pictures are in this Bible that was given by McGee. McGee was paid by Coretta to get this information on Terrell. So he gave him $50, and he's like, give this to Coretta. You know Coretta. Coretta knows Daphne, and Daphne will have pictures. And then all of a sudden, he turns up dead, but he claims he did not kill McGee, and it's true. We find out that actually Sizemore's character killed him, and he's making money from all these different people. It's funny because this guy who was not having money before, he's getting 1,000 from this guy, 100 from this guy. This guy's collecting a lot of money from different sides, and he also is trying to get that $7,000. Right. So he thinks the reason he thinks that Junior killed McGee was because he found the cigarettes in there, but then Junior claims that he didn't do it. So then he goes home. Daphne's there at his house, and he learns that Daphne hid from Carter because of her association with Frank Green. Now he's thinking, oh, you were fooling. That's your boyfriend. You're cheating on him with Frank Green. He's like, no, that's my brother. And they have this. Daphne's mother from New Orleans had given birth to two children by different fathers. And although Daphne's own father was white, her half brother's father was black. And since this guy was a mayoral favorite, this guy running for the mayor, having a fiance with a partial African American heritage would ensure a loss for him if
Hmm.
that came out.
Yep.
And Terrell's knowledge of this is the reason Carter dropped out of the race. So that's the real reason he dropped out, not because he was distraught, but because he did know about it. That's what's said here. I don't know if it's true, but because it's weird because I think he was promising to marry her, but he was lying maybe because he wasn't going to marry somebody who's half black. He turns out to
But
be a shithead in the end. We don't really
yeah,
know if
because
he knows it.
when Easy meets him, he looks like a good dude.
Right. But I think he's good, but he's still a product of his times,
By the
and
way,
he's not going to.
I forgot the actor's name, but he was sensational in Oz. He was the warden in Oz.
Yes, I remember him. So then Albright's men burst into Easy's house. They subdue him and they abduct Daphne. And when he wakes up, Easy calls Mouse, and they race over and get Joppy. They take him at gunpoint and they bring him in the car, and they're like, "Where can we find this Albright guy?" And he knows this cabin where Albright is, so they drive up there. And Mouse is, when he hears that Joppy was the one who killed Coretta, he starts shooting at him, and Easy has to tell him, "Look, man, $7,000. We can get $7,000 if you just chill the fuck out." He's like, $7,000. Oh, okay. And he turns around and keeps driving. So he's got to keep this guy like focused on money. Otherwise, this guy's just gonna go hog wild. So in the Hollywood Hills, this is where this cabin is or whatever, this house. They set up an ambush and they shoot Albright and his goons and they rescue Daphne. And when he returns to the car, Joppy's dead because Mouse killed him. And Mouse, this is where we see that Mouse is a complete sociopath because he couldn't guard him and make sure he didn't escape, and because Easy told him not to shoot him, he strangled him. So Joppy's dead. But at this point, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, Joppy in a way got it's kind of retribution for killing Coretta. And so then Easy finds out that the money that Daphne paid him Mouse for the photographs came from a huge sum originally given by Carter's family to get her to get out of town because they thought that she would be a liability to his becoming mayor. So she had all this money that's how she had the $7,000 to pay McGee. But she stayed because she believed that they would change their minds once he became mayor, because at that point he'd be already winning. But hey, how's he going to win re-election? They didn't think about that. So so Carter's basically honest. He's back in the race, and he basically tells her he's never going to marry her, and she's distraught, and she leaves in tears. Easy then gives Carter the photographs that prove that Terrell is a pedophile in exchange for the $800 that he promised him. I think he had given him $200. He promised him $1,000. So he got his.
Now, by the way,
the rest of his.
I don't know if you mentioned when Terrell stopped Easy in the street and brought him in the limo and was trying to get info from Easy. Did you mention that scene?
Yeah.
Okay. In that scene, they show a young boy that's with Terrell, who he's possibly, I think, if I remember the book, he did molest that boy. That boy's name was Jesus. Well, Terrell goes to jail, and Easy winds up adopting that little Mexican boy.
Okay, that's in the book.
Yeah, and because that boy was molested, he didn't speak for years. Easy took care of the boy. The boy didn't speak until he was a teenager, until his late teens. In the book, because they don't explore it in the movie.
He claims it's his nephew,
His
but it's
kid's
really
name
one
is
of the
Jesus.
kids.
How the fuck is that his nephew?
Yeah.
That kid is Mexican. You can look at that kid and see that kid is Mexican.
Right. So that's the first clue that this guy's a pedophile. But
so my two favorite characters in the history of my book reading. I love two characters, and both are African American heroes. You have Ezekiel Easy Rollins from the Walter Mosley books, from the mystery novels, and I think he's had over 20 books. That's my favorite. My second favorite, that's the character Denzel's playing. My second favorite, soon to be in a new movie, the first motion picture. There was a show. Remember a show years ago in the 80s starring Robert Urich called Spencer for Hire?
Oh, yeah.
His partner was played by Avery Brooks, Hawk. Well, that's my second favorite character in a novel. Well, in a month from now, there will be a Spencer movie brought to the big screen with Mark Wahlberg playing the Robert Urich character as Spencer, and how do you say his name? My man from I believe my man from Us, Winston Duke, is playing Hawk. So those are my two favorite characters. Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's not gonna be good. It's gonna be great. Those are the perfect two guys to play those roles. So those are my two favorite, and Spencer would be my third favorite character. I love Spencer. So those are my three favorite characters. So I mean, I could talk about Easy Rollins and Walter Mosley all day. I got to meet Walter Mosley, Logan, 2 years ago at the Snowfall premiere that they had at the IFC movie theater down on West 4th Street. Walter Mosley is a writer and consultant for the Snowfall TV series, and very nice man,
perfect.
very nice man, very nice man, and I love his character. And what he told me is what he tells everybody when he writes a book, because when he was growing up, he never saw in the books, in novels, black heroes.
Right.
He emphasizes in his books black heroes. Mouse and Easy are black heroes. Mouse more like an anti-hero. Easy's a hero. Easy's always trying to help his friends. And throughout the book, Logan, Easy becomes a private investigator. If he cares about you, he'll do the case for no money because he wants to help black people in the 40s and 50s, and then now they're in the 60s now because no one else is going to help them. He's a hero.
Yeah, this is
and
great.
as you can see, Logan, in this movie, the people in the neighborhood, they admire him, they look up to him because he's a single, strong black man in that neighborhood, and he's like a watchdog for them. So
Yeah,
that's why Easy Rollins is my favorite character, and Walter Mosley is the first African-American writer to write about a black hero. And then years later, James Patterson with Alex Cross, that's a black hero. Hawk, he's an anti-hero in the Spencer books written by Robert B. Parker. But Easy Rollins was the first black hero. Because before Walter Mosley wrote his novels, blacks in nonfiction books were complicated characters or pimps, or they would be anti-heroes. They weren't very heroic.
Right.
Walter Mosley made a conscious effort, and all his books, Easy Rollins was the first one. He's got other heroes that he writes about in his books.
But it's classic, like Body Heat. It's a classic detective structure.
Yeah, because you have the femme fatale in Jennifer Beals.
Right. In fact, you don't know whether she's actually evil or not. In this case, she turns out to be good.
Why do they call it The Devil in a Blue Dress? The book, and another thing, Walter Mosley, with every Easy Rollins book, there's a color associated with the title. Devil in a Blue Dress, Black Betty, Cinnamon Man, Charcoal Joe, every Bad Boy Brawley Brown. There's a color in every book that he's written. I think he's run out of colors.
He had to. I looked at a list of books that he's written. Like he's like Stephen King level.
Yeah, he is, and he's Bill Clinton's favorite author. The man is world renowned. I mean, he's been to Russia, England, China, Japan. He's the first successful mystery writer that was African American. And the funny thing is, Logan, he didn't make it big until his 40s. He was a computer whiz. He worked for IBM. He quit his job to become a writer. And when I think he was 43 when his first book was published back in 1991, Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yeah, and this is like the perfect origin story for that character, who then, I guess, we should see. I mean, they should probably start making all these movies out of these books.
He has developed this character for other projects, but it's never gotten off the ground. He was going to have Mos Def play Mouse, and Mos Def would have been perfect to play Mouse. And Jeffrey Wright, one of the stars of that, what's that show on HBO with with Dandy Newton and Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I know, the robot show, whatever. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Jeffrey Wright was going to play
Westworld.
Easy. Yeah, there you go, Westworld. Jeffrey Wright was going to play Easy, and Mos Def was going to play Mouse. A script was developed, but it never got off the ground. This was 13 years ago. That project is still in the air. So I would love to see a team. This character would be perfect for Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see it sooner rather than later because they're looking for that kind of thing, especially with a black hero.
Yeah.
It's they're gonna want more of that. It's like
And
Luther
it's
is in
timely.
that
And it's
tradition.
timely. Walter Mosley, in each novel that he writes about Easy Rollins, it starts in 1948, and right now we're up to 1968 in his latest book, Charcoal Joe. He implements historical facts that's going on at that time into the books. Like you'll have the Kennedy assassination or the Civil Rights March. He adds all the Watts riots. All of that he adds into the book, which a great writer does. It's just what I love. My favorite writer, my favorite character, and I wish there were more movies made. Like you said, this is a perfect vehicle for Netflix, for Hulu, for HBO to do a series. And there's so many great actors out there. Then, matter of fact, Logan, if they want to do the old Easy, that could be a great vehicle for Denzel to revisit this character and play him in a Netflix type series.
Huh. So yeah, they should do that. I mean, I think he's just got so much stuff on his plate, Denzel, that they could probably get. I would give it to somebody even that needs
Well, you could
somebody.
Larry Fishburne, somebody out there that could really. And by the way, the second movie that was made from Walter Mosley. Walter Mosley has a character named Socrates, Socrates Fortlow, who went to jail for rape, comes out of prison, and becomes a hero. But that rape always hangs on his mind. He's haunted by this rape. Well, there was a movie based off his book, Always Outnumbered. The movie was called Always Outnumbered, where Larry Fishburne played Socrates, and I highly recommend it. The movie that we'll probably visit next year around this time for Black History Month. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that movie is available on HBO on demand. It's called Always Outnumbered, by a book written by Walter Mosley, starring the great Larry Fishburne.
All right, now, has Walter Mosley have any other thing that's been made into a book or a movie?
He had a brief segment on a Showtime anthology series back in the mid '90s, but it wasn't based on Easy Rollins or Socrates. So that's it. Those three, plus his writing on Snowfall.
Which
But
is stellar.
no other character. Yeah, no other characters off his books. But I mean, he's had a lot of great novels and a lot of great characters off those novels with their own series. Leonid McGill. Leonid McGill is an ex-murderer turned private investigator. It's funny. He has all these heroes that are complicated with dark pasts that are trying to redeem themselves by doing good.
Yeah, and definitely flawed, like in the case of Mouse, who's murders people just because he can't stand watch over them. So.
Easy is flawed. I mean, Easy loves the ladies, and he slept with his best friend's wife.
Yeah, he did, right. He slept with Mouse's wife in the book, and that's fucked up.
And I'm saying, and that's his best friend. That's his brother. And yeah. And I hope one day that and here's another fact that I want to bring up. About 7, 8 years ago, Walter Mosley killed off Easy Rollins. Said he wasn't going to write him anymore, but got so much pressure from his fans. His fans were like, "You got to bring Easy back. You got to bring Easy back." So in the book, I forgot the name of the book, but in the book, Easy drowns in his car. So when he brought the character back 3-4 years later, Easy's in a hospital bed in a deep coma. You could do that if they get the guy out the water. So it wasn't like a gunshot to the head. But at that point in time, he had told everybody he wasn't going to write any more Easy Rollins books. But his fans put the pressure on him, and I got to give Walter credit. He went ahead and brought back Easy.
Yeah, well, that's great, man. It's a great character, and looks like you can just tell endless stories just set in that time period or a little bit later, and you don't have to move much. You can just keep putting adventures after adventure.
That's what he's done. For 20 years worth of adventures in South Central Los Angeles, with Easy being this black, unofficial private investigator. But eventually he does get his private investigation license. another quick tidbit about Easy in the books. In order to look incognito, he becomes a janitor in the public school systems in Los Angeles. So during the day, he's a janitor. He's got a steady paycheck in case he can't get any private investigation work. That money goes towards raising his kids and paying his mortgage while doing side private investigation jobs. It was a great introduction to a character that should have been a trilogy. I mean, Denzel was the perfect guy to play Easy Rollins. I didn't look at box office receipts, but Denzel Washington, this is in his prime, and he's still in his prime. This was in his prime. It would have continued to do success. Carl Franklin, tremendous African American director. Walter Mosley doesn't have to do much with the screenplay. You base it on his books. So it's real disappointing that this series wasn't continued. And like we said earlier, this is the perfect vehicle for Netflix, for HBO, for Hulu, for Showtime to develop a series around this character. You have all of these books that you could base a show off of. You could do each season could be dedicated to one book. Did this movie Devil in a Blue Dress could have been an entire season. Could have at 13 episodes easily built. It's perfect. His books are perfect for television in today's age, and it should be explored.
Tarantino should use one of these books.
I don't think Walter Mosley will have somebody that's non-black try and develop his books. I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I mean, his stuff is similar to Elmore Leonard. I mean, and it's like pulpiness.
It's very similar to Elmore Leonard, very similar to Philip Marlowe. The way Walter Mosley has Easy Rollins is like Philip Marlowe. He's like the Elmore Leonard characters. You've got a lot of humor that mixed in with very serious subject matters. And throughout the Easy Rollins series, they deal with a lot of touchy subjects. Look, a black woman denying her heritage by pretending to be white, a pedophile. You've had rapists. You've had serial killers. He's dealt with all drug dealers. He's dealt with all of that. And one thing is, my ex-girlfriend used to bring this up when I put her on to Walter Mosley, and she was reading all the books. She was like, "How come Walter Mosley's characters always are in debt or have financial problems?" I said, "Sweetheart, these are the 40s, 50s, and 60s. You didn't have any black millionaires back then. They're going to deal with debt. They got to deal with the everyday struggle. That's life, and that's what Walter Mosley's dealt with, life."
Yeah, I mean, the unemployment rate, whatever it is for white people, it's like triple that for African Americans even today.
Well, back then it might have been quadruple.
Right. So that was a rough time, especially before the civil rights.
Even Easy Rollins, a World War II veteran, a came
hero.
home with $1,000. Came home a hero, a war hero. Comes home with $1,000 in his pocket, which he uses to buy a house. And this episode begins with him broke. He loses his job, and he's afraid of falling back on his mortgage. So he has to do things unethically in order to maintain that house. And you said at the end of the movie, he looks at his house with his pride. Like, man, this is mine. I own this. No one gave this to me.
Yeah, and he's happy. He sees that it's basically an all-black neighborhood, but he feels at home there, and he's happy that he's able, and in the end, because all this money he received from doing what he had to go through, and he no longer has the police on his back because Carter has basically told him that there's not going to be any police problems with him. So he's just sitting pretty now, and this is his entree into the profession that would propel the rest of the books. So it's a great origin story.
It's funny. He'll always be in a tight financial situation, and then out of nowhere, he finds a way. He finds a way. It's like every movie, Well, I'm not even every book. He's back at zero, but he finds his way around. And I just love this character. And anybody listening out there, give Walter Mosley a call. The brother's not hard to find.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going to try to get him on the show. Talk a little bit.
He's sensational. He's sensational. And it's funny. Every Snowfall season, he writes an episode. Every season, out of the 10 episodes, his episode is the best episode of the 10 episodes.
So which one did he write that we know of?
Remember, you watched the entire Snowfall series in order to do the show with us. The episode where his father gets brutalized by the police.
Oh.
He wrote that episode. That, in my opinion, to this day, that's still the best episode of the entire series. That was tremendous.
Yeah, and that's what makes you sympathize with this cold as ice character, because we see that where he came from. All right, man. Well, I think we should wrap it up here.
Yeah.
And then,
Next week, we will continue our focus on Black History Month and Tyler Perry movie. We haven't done a Tyler Perry movie since Halloween when we did Medea Boo, a Halloween movie. This is one of the most serious movies he ever. You know, usually Tyler Perry movies have a lot of comedy mixed in with serious issues. This movie, there's no comedy. There's no Medea in this movie. Daddy's Little Girls, a very serious movie, a movie that will make you cry, will make you want to punch the screen, will make you want to hit somebody. Starring Idris Elba, probably the #1 black actor in Hollywood today, and the never aging, forever 30, Gabrielle Union.
yeah, man. All right, that's going to be good. Daddy's Little Girl. And we will
Daddy's
talk about
Little
that
Girls
next
will
week.
be next week, 2007, starring Idris Elba and written and directed by Tyler Perry.
I was saying Idris would be a great if he just started doing a series of movies based on this guy's novels. I think that would work for him too.
He would be perfect. He would definitely. Hey, the star of Snowfall, Dance and Idris. He already has a relationship with Walter Mosley. He'd be great as Easy Rollins.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
He would be great.
All right, man.
He would be, and the guy from Atlanta would be a great Mouse, Lakeith Stanfield.
You mean the main guy?
No, the guy that was a Teddy Perkins that got kidnapped by Teddy Perkins. He'd be the perfect Mouse.
Perfect.
And Hollywood, people out there, we're giving you ideas. Let's go run with it. Steal it.
He would be. That would be perfect for him.
Dance and Idris and Lakeith Stanfield as Easy Rollins and Mouse in a series based on Walter Mosley's work of Easy Rollins. There you go.
Yeah, that's fucking great. And does Daphne ever make any other appearances in the novels?
No.
She's gone for good.
That's the last you see of this voluptuous woman.
Oh man, that's too bad. All right, well, maybe he'll bring her out, in one of his later books. But so far we haven't seen her again, so she's gone for good. Probably blending in as a white girl somewhere else.
I think she moves back to Louisiana with money that her former lover gave her.
That's right. All right, man. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll be back next week. One Silva, thank you, man. Talk to you.
Talk to you in a few minutes, big man. Later.
Peace.